Good morning, guys. My name is Dr. Joe Brown. Today I want to talk to you guys about 7 home remedies that you can relieve your sinus problems naturally. So what I want to talk to you guys today about is home remedies that you guys can do at home to relieve any kind of sinus problems that you guys are having. Because what happens is that everybody, whether you have kids, whether it's your wife or your husband, you guys at home, you guys always have sinus issues going on. We all get it. Everybody gets it. Nobody's immune to it. And so essentially, what is a sinus infection? Sinus infection is essentially clogged cavities in the nasal region, because your sinuses lie right in here behind the nose and in the middle of the eyes, okay, in the forehead. And so what happens is that usually it might be due to allergies, it might be due to something that you're eating. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're covering what it's caused by and what you guys can do to actually help prevent it. Because it's usually caused by either a number of 2 or 3 things. It's usually by bacterial infections, viral infections, okay, possibly the common cold, and or you have allergies to something. And any of that can lead to sinus infections. So, and if you don't treat this, most people will end up getting fever, headaches, and if you don't treat it or do something about it, and the stagnation in the sinuses stay there, it can actually lead to meningitis, all right? And so what I want to do is I want to just talk to you guys about what things I want you guys doing so that you not just avoid getting it, but what can you do if you actually have sinus infections? And so let's talk about some of the foods that you guys are probably eating, okay? Because people who eat these type of foods are more prone to having sinus infections or problems in any of the areas. And so those foods tend to be the fried foods or the starchy foods, okay? Rice and meat actually increase the chances of having sinus infections. Certain spices, especially strong spices, tend to have a increased opportunistic situation, and so it causes people to have that larger or increased amount of sinus infections. And the last 2 things that I've picked up on are soft drinks, so Coca-Colas and the different products that, you know, the different sodas that people are drinking, and especially dairy products, with the special consideration to cheese. If you guys are eating dairy products, a lot of people have allergies to wheat and to dairy products, but milk products or dairy products specifically tend to increase the amount of allergies that people have, hence sinus infections, okay? So now that we talked about that, what are the 7 things that you guys can do to avoid the sinus infections and or the symptoms that go along with it? Number 1, stay hydrated, okay? Because the more that you drink, and I'm talking about water, okay? So the more water and the better hydration that you keep every single day, the less likely you are to get sinus infections. Why? Because the more water you drink, you are lubricating your mucal membranes, okay? Your mucous membranes, which encompasses your nose, your mouth, and your throat, inside of your mouth. And so anytime that you're drinking an increased amount of water or fluids, you're naturally increasing the amount of saliva and mucus that you have in those areas. And I don't mean mucus such as mucus that you're going to be stuffed up from, but I'm talking about you're lubricating those areas, okay? And that's key. Number 2 is the pungent spices. So now remember, if you eat certain strong spices, that may lead to sinus infections. But there are a couple pungent spices that actually reduce sinus infections. And what are they? So one of them is cayenne. And the reason why cayenne helps, and cayenne is that orangish, reddish powder or powder form that we typically buy when we're buying spices. And the reason why that helps to reduce the sinus type of infections is because it's a natural and a very potent anti-inflammatory, okay? Now, horseradish. Now, a lot of people don't eat horseradish, so a lot of people use ketchup and mustard and things like this on burgers and hot dogs and different foods that they're eating. But horseradish, which in America, we tend to dilute the horseradish down. So when you buy horseradish, it's already not very spicy, okay? But the stronger the horseradish that you can find, and even if you just use a little bit of it, it has such a high anti-inflammatory effect that the chances of getting sinus infections is really, really small and minimal, all right? Now, let's talk number 3, steam towels, okay? So you've probably all heard about this. Mothers, fathers, our grandparents, they've all kind of, passed this kind of herbal remedy down from our grandparents. If you have anything in the sinus area and you are clogged up, you have a runny nose, you're a stuffy nose, whatever it is, you can take a towel, drape it over your head, and then you can fill up a pan with water and bring it to a boil. And what you're going to do is you're going to lean over that pan so that you're breathing up the steam that's coming from the boiling water. And you're going to take a white towel or any type of towel and cover your head. So the towel is actually laying over your head so that it's forcing the steam to come up into your nasal and mouth regions. And that will actually loosen up any kind of, if you have a clogged nose or a stuffy nose, or you're just having a kind of a hard time getting stuff out of you, that is a very quick, cheap, and easy fix for that, okay? Number 4, again, let's talk about spices for a second. Turmeric and ginger teas, all right? Now, we've talked about this on a lot of the different videos. If you go out and find some good turmeric and or ginger teas, or you can make this at home by just buying some ginger root and some turmeric root and cutting that up into slices, and then put it in some tea, some green tea, for example, okay? Because the anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric and ginger are so strong, they're going to, again, help to reduce any type of inflammation, okay? Number 5, apple cider vinegar, all right? Now, why is that important? Now, apple cider vinegar, it's all over our shelves everywhere in the grocery stores, but a lot of people don't buy it because they don't know what to do with it. Apple cider vinegar actually helps to alkalinize your body. It's very, very good for your immune system. It alkalinizes your system. It helps to alkalinize your stomach and your gut. But apple cider vinegar, if you just take 1 teaspoon in the morning, right when you wake up, don't even drink water yet. Take 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in the morning and take 1 teaspoon at night before you go to bed. It'll help to not only alkalinize your stomach, but it helps to reduce the inflammation. And we don't really know why, to be honest, but apple cider vinegar helps to keep the nasal region and sinusitis and all those problems with the nose and the mouth at a minimum, okay? Number 6. Now, again, something that's been passed down, chicken noodle soup, okay? So if you have the common cold, or if you have any kind of sinusitis or allergies, or you have or anything that has to do with inflammation of the sinus areas or the common cold, don't go out and buy that little can of soup for $2. You guys can make this at home, okay? So I want you guys to make homemade chicken soup and then drink a lot of the broth, because the chicken that you're putting in the water, and when you're boiling that to make your own bouillon, okay? And when you're going to be drinking that broth and then eating the soup, the key is that there's minerals that are released from the bone marrow from the chicken that you just boiled, okay? And that is very, very beneficial for your immune system. And it has a direct effect on increasing your immune system, which will decrease your sinusitis or sinus problems, okay? Number 7 and the last one. Let's talk about nasal irrigation for a second, okay? So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. So, and I'm going to tell you 2 different ways, and then I'm going to tell you my favorite way of doing this. So on the nasal irrigation, you can use what's called a neti pot, okay? A lot of people really say that neti pots work really well, and I've tried them, and my colleagues in medical school, they tried them along with a bunch of other things, and neti pots work really, really well, okay? It's shaped usually about this big, about 5 or 6 inches. You can buy them at any store. They usually run around $20 or so, $15.99, $19.99, something like that. And what you do is you put warm water in there, not boiling water, but warm water, Okay, and then you can actually put in different essential oils like a eucalyptus or a thyme or things of that nature. Peppermint, for example, just put a few drops of that in there. And then what you're going to do is, and it's kind of awkward when you first try it, you kind of lean your head over the sink and you're going to dip this neti pot into one area of the nasal region. And it's going to force the water to run up one side of the nose and then it's going to come out the other side of the nose. And I'll be honest with you, until you do it a number of times, it's not easy to do at first. And you think, well, this is awkward. You kind of got to lean your head to the side. You got water coming out the other side of the nose. So at first it seems just not really convenient to do, but it actually really works really well. But let me leave you with this. The one that I prefer the best, I use it with patients, I use it at home myself, I use it with my family, is the nebulizer, okay? And we have another video that we've shot on using the nebulizer, how to use it, and what you can put in it. A nebulizer unit is something that, and we can ship these out to you. So if this is something that you want, and I'd recommend, before you go out and spend money on neti pots and all these different herbal concoctions, I'd recommend that if you want to buy one of these and put one of these in your home, I have one in my home office and I have one in my other office. It is a machine that you can hook up a tube to. And at the end of that tube, there's a mask. So you put the mask around your nose and mouth. And I'm going to show this in another video. And what you do is you can either use saline or different things in this nebulizer mask, and it is forcing an inhaled amount of solution, whatever you chose to use, right into the nasal or the nose region as well as the mouth. It works fast. It's easy. You literally buy the nebulizer one time and the mask and the unit that goes with it, and you never got to use anything or buy anything else again other than the solution you're going to use. So my name's Dr. Joe Brown. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for me, leave them in the comments below. You can find a lot of this information on my website, and if you have questions for me, write me something either in the comments or send me an email directly through my website, and I will get right back to you guys. If you guys want me to ship this stuff out to you, I'm more than happy we can do that. We do it every day. So I'm Dr. Joe Brown. Remember, your health is in your hands.